Linux permissions for services. How do permissions work for services in Linux? I already know that I can set read, write, and execute permissions for files and directories with chmod each for owner, group, and other users, but how do permissions work for a running service? How can I see what permissions a service has on particular files/directories?
A service is bound by regular permission restrictions. It all depends on what user the service runs as. Services are just regular processes that are always running. For example, you can see that the service is run by root and by www data. Apache uses the root process only for binding to port 80, or whatever port you've configured. Recall that binding to ports is lower than 1024 requires you to be root. For security, though, Apache hands off all request processing to processes that run as www data. What these processes can access is up to you. If your file permissions in your document root don't permit www data to access the files, Apache won't be able to serve them. This is the same for any service. Typically they have a process running as root, if they must bind to a port less than 1024. Not all services have a root process, though, which delegates tasks to the less privileged user. A process running as a user they created, bind for bind, www data for Apache, profpd for profpd, etc. Keep in mind that the names of these vary by system. Apache sometimes runs as Apache or Apache 2 instead of www data. Some processes run as nobody instead of as a specific user, though. This can be a bad idea, but it depends on the process and what it's doing. These are just general rules. Some processes even run entirely as root, such as SSHD, although it will use a user process when someone connects. Use PS auxiliary to see what user a process is running under.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.